This time we'll call the Tuesday, October 4th, 2022 meeting of the Jackson County Board of Supervisors to order. Larry McDevitt, Mike Steinus, and myself are your county supervisors. Lisa Smith and Bjorn from the auditor's office, and Luann Volke is our administrative assistant. First item on today's agenda is a public hearing on Jackson County Ordinance number 305, private water wells. This time I will open the public hearing. And we're joined by Elizabeth Townsend, our Jackson County Health Administrator. Good morning.
Good morning. So we are looking at removing our ordinance number 69. And the reason we're doing this is because about a year ago, we received a 28E agreement from the DNR to change the procedure for how we're permitting our wells. And the reason they're asking for this is because they're wanting to add a procedure for checking for leaking underground storage tanks, also known as West. So basically, when I sent this to Sarah Davenport, our attorney, for review, she just reviewed our ordinance and said that it wasn't in compliance with what the state is asking us to do, just because that our ordinance is kind of old, so we needed to bring it up to current code. So we made those changes in a new ordinance, and so we would be removing ordinance 69 and putting this new one in. And basically all it's doing is saying that we are following what the state wants us to do for well construction and permitting. So it does not affect any existing wells. It would only affect any wells that are near a West site. If they are near a West site that's identified by our department, we send it to the DNR, they review it and then send it back to us, and then the permit can be issued or may not be able to be issued. Okay. But that's all this is. There's a procedure that, or a policy that would go with this, just saying what our fees are, things like that. And then the 28E agreement.
So I received a couple calls, and the calls are concerned about existing wells. And I says it does not affect your existing well, right, unless you need to drill a new well, then it needs to be in compliance.
Correct.
And the purpose of it is for health.
Right.
I mean, we don't want the public or anyone else drinking unsafe water, which you should have your wells tested. I mean, right, things change over the years or over months, basically.
Yeah.
So it's not changing anything. They were not going to come out and condemn your well or anything like that. So that was a concern that we have too many regulations. We're not putting in place any more regulations.
Right. There was nothing more going in that the DNR doesn't require. And I think the one thing people need to understand is that Jackson County permits wells for the DNR. So we are doing the work for the DNR. We have to follow what they want us to do. If this is something that we don't do, then we would not be able to permit wells in this county anymore.
So they understand that we are doing it for the DNR. Yeah. And if we don't do it, you ain't gonna issue any permit for wells, and it's a long time coming before you dig a well.
Exactly. So this is nothing above and beyond what the state doesn't require. So, or what the state requires.
All we're doing is updating.
Yep.
Well, we're getting in compliance to where
sure,
we have to be.
And that's,
well, it just makes sense to test it before you drill a well. Why drill it and find out water?
Oh, you got contaminated water, yeah.
Right. Yeah. And we don't have a lot of lost sites in Jackson County, so you know there's a few out there, but it's minimal. I mean, I've been on the map that they have to check for things already, and started doing that prior to having this in place, just so I could kind of get a feel for what we would be doing. But I don't think that it's really going to have a huge effect or impact on anybody.
So would Clinton Engine's property be one of those sites?
I haven't checked, but I do know that they.
I know they're doing testing down there.
Right.
Well, the last test they brought back though said that there was not. I don't know how far away it was. There was not what they call it in the
So they actually contacted, or I was contacted yesterday by a well driller who wants to put monitoring wells out there. So I did forward that to the DNR for review, just because there's so many that they want to put in, and they're not all on the same parcel. And
Is this for methane or something, or? Is this for-
yeah. So
Yes, it is. We met last week with the
Okay.
DNR and a couple other agencies on, and Josh was there to look at what our next steps are.
mhm,
And so what we're basically doing is looking at costs and how, because some of it is they want to take up the basement of the Clinton Engines Museum, dig it all up and put pipes, and there's 3 options that they gave us, and they're going to review what is currently being done with air exchange and get back to us and let us know what they feel is the appropriate option that we have to do. And they'll give us some cost estimates as to what it'll cost to do that. And so we're all a little bit frightened from the
Well,
Historical Society because we don't know.
I guess if it's unhealthy, but I guess that's probably another conversation, right?
But yet the air exchange that we put in, it did triple our electric bill, but the air in the museum has not tested. I mean, it's tested fine.
mhm.
So we don't know.
So
It's-
yeah, okay. Go ahead, Jack.
It's just a wait and see what they come back with.
So
Now they
regarding,
want to do the same thing. They want to put test wells down at the fairgrounds over into the area where the stock cars park. And I think 6 or 8 wells they want to put in over there to see what contamination those cars or those vehicles are causing in that area of the fairgrounds. And that was something that Lanny just found out last week.
Okay, back to our public hearing.
Yeah.
We had, if the media can make it clear that we're not changing anything.
Yeah.
we're not here to put more restrictions on people. It's just to keep for the health and for compliant. We're gotta be in compliance.
Yeah,
basically, not
Yeah,
changing.
we are following chapter 49 and 38 out of Iowa Administrative Code.
Okay, anything else? Did we get anything? Did you get anything,
I did not
Lisa?
receive anything.
I
just
got
had-
one comment and that was taken care of, so
I just had a couple calls and I think we answered in the same way. So if there's no further comments, I would make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
we have a motion and a second to close the public hearing on Jackson County ordinance number 305. All those in favor? Aye. Motion carried. Okay, now we have Elizabeth, but also to discuss possible action on 3 different topics that we have in our book. So I'll just turn it over to you, Elizabeth.
So do you wanna go through each one of these individually? Even though we just,
Do you want them done individually?
I would, because you just closed the
Yeah,
public hearing
yeah.
on 305, I would make your decision on 305 first.
Right.
Make a motion to approve. We do it on
Can you
first.
explain that just briefly?
what the 305 is?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is just, so we are removing ordinance number 69, and we are putting a new one in place that will allow us to follow Iowa Administrative Code, chapter 49 and 38.
And I would second that motion to approve that.
And this is ordinance number 305, private water wells. Any further discussion? Pardon? 305?
I would do that. I'll do that afterwards.
So you're gonna do that in separate motions?
Yes, so now,
Okay.
being already seconded, yeah.
So the question I have is what are you gonna
Can
do? with
waive
your
the second,
and
third reading.
Oh, okay.
So if you're gonna do that in a separate motion,
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carried.
Okay, along with that, I would, with no comments or input here, I would make a motion to waive the second and third reading on that ordinance.
I would second.
Motion and a second to waive the second and third reading of ordinance number 305. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carried. Discussion and possible action on Jackson County private well policy.
So we have a policy that goes with the ordinance. The policy just goes over, basically saying that there is permitting that's required for any wells that would be drilled. And that we're gonna follow the DNR application that the DNR provides us with. And that the Board of Health establishes a fee of $150 for that application. And let's see here. And that any wells would need to be constructed by a certified driller.
So there was minimal change to that permit that we had.
There's no change,
Correct.
really. It goes
We
actually.
always had a policy that
We always have a
application.
policy. Yeah, this is just making sure that we still have some support to say that this is what we
This is
require.
what you can require.
Yeah, and then we just have our appeal process if there's a permit denial in there.
That's the same price.
Yeah.
as it was.
Yeah, no changes to the fee.
Make a motion to approve.
I would second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the private well policy. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carried. Discussion possible action on county private wells 28E agreement.
So the 28E agreement, this is an agreement that we've always had with the DNR. As far as I can look back and see, this is just the updated one that's including the new procedure. Yeah, so the new procedure that we'll have to check for the lust sites anytime we issue a well permit. So that new agreement would need to be signed and submitted to the DNR.
And that's just following their rules and regulations.
Yeah.
It's just adding ordinance 305.
Yeah.
Correct.
Mhm.
I'll make a motion to approve 2080 agreement.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the 2080 agreement on private wells. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carried.
And if anybody calls me, I'll be sure to go over anything with them.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
that's pretty
Okay.
good. All right, well,
Thank you very much. And at this time, we'll be joined by Scott Kinney, our Jackson County engineer.
Morning.
Morning, sir.
Morning. Okay, just at the one second entrance for Class D residential permit for 33rd Street, just an entrance permit, 30-foot wide, east to west. Site distance check was fine, so just a motion to approve.
Second.
The motion and a second to approve the entrance permit for Casey and Derek Brady Camp. Van Buren. Section 22. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carried.
Then you approve this agreement for the fence for the next Roche project. You already approved it, but I got the actual contract signed by the landowners.
Okay,
You just need to
okay.
execute. So you already took action on this. I just need to make sure.
Okay,
And then just a quick update. So the patching work going on E17, I don't know if you heard, but there's a cement powder shortage. So they could not get concrete anymore. So they left. They'll be back next. They went to a job, I think, on a state job on 151. They'll be back next Monday. This is the section from Andrew up to Springbrook that they got a little bit left west of Andrew, but the majority of the work they got to go is on from Andrew to Springbrook, and I think it'll take another 12 to 14 days to finish. So right now can't get concrete, so they had to move to another job through the DOT that was let under contract. So evidently, if you're under contract, the ready mix plants are more inclined to
get
Should
you.
give it to you, huh?
So are the powder come as a shortage of cause of what? Is it?
So now this is all just, just people talking, but supposedly they can't, it's on barges, but they can't get it up the river because the rivers are
Rivers are
Too
low.
low.
so.
Yeah.
So that's what I've heard. Who knows? Don't quote me on that, but that's just,
They make it in Davenport.
yeah, well, but they ship it all over the place too, but. So that's update on the patching, 475th Avenue bridge that Schrader Construction is working on. That's moving along. All the piling's done. They're setting beams and they're looking at October 13th or 14th deck pour. So that job they're really moving along pretty well. Out here at South Main Bridge, I don't know if you drove through there, but all the approach paving is down. They're saw cutting joints this morning. They poured the new section of driveway at the southwest corner this morning. The plan is to finish all the dirt work and grading this week. And then starting Monday, their plan is to switch traffic back over and then pour the barrier rail between the bike trail section and the vehicular trail or vehicular road section. Friday, they're supposed to come in and put the guardrail in. It's only going in on the northwest corner. So that's the only corner that's going to get guardrail. So that's supposed to be done this Friday. So that once they pour the barrier rail, I'm assuming, so if they switch traffic over on Monday, it sounded like it was only going to take them 2 or 3 days to form and pour. And then the only thing they got left is to do the longitudinal grinding through the project. And then paint lines, so that'll be wrapping up here shortly too. So let's see what else. B17, and then the day labor projects that we got going on. The culvert one on 239th Avenue that S2 is doing. That was supposed to be done started last week, but it sounds like they're going to push that to the 1st of November. Schrader Construction's got 3 bridges to do this year. So I was like, they're going to start the 2nd or 3rd week of October. So not next Monday, but the following Monday. Well, I guess technically that's the 3rd week. So then it takes them about 2 weeks per bridge, and then our crews do some finish up work and then should be open. So a lot of stuff getting done or coming to a close, but we got a lot of stuff yet that's not started and need to get done yet too. So anyway, that's it. I guess you guys have any questions?
Where are we at in our hiring process?
For who? For which one?
Well, hey, we're missing an operator yet?
Yeah, so that's been posted externally. It has to be posted for 10 days, so that we're still in the posting
Are
period.
we short of that?
That's a state law. So
Internally,
internally we shorten it,
5 days.
but externally it has to be posted for 10 days.
so it's posted now?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't see it.
Did you have any internal apps?
Well, there have been some.
So we posted it internally to let our guys bid to it. Nobody bid to it. So once we know where the
Okay.
opening is, that posting goes out to the public,
Okay,
and that has to be out for 10 days.
So the opening is where? It's here?
No, I think it's a grader out of Springbrook. Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say,
No,
huh?
It's not on the website.
Yeah. So there, he knows. Bjorn knows who's posted it. I got the email from Becky. I just didn't print it out, but yeah, I knew it was because we initially, I had reached out to Becky to see, because we just hired the last guy as a grader operator at a different shed. I wanted to know if we could just go to the next best, the guy that because there were 3 guys that we probably could have hired for that job and save us some time and effort and all that, but can't do that.
she said no.
She's been that way.
So anyway, hopefully, we get the guys applying that applied before too. So, but anyway,
So we can't keep them on file or not?
we keep them on file, but you can't just
have
offer the job to the
They have
next.
to reapply.
Yeah,
Okay, and three of them.
I think in Clinton County, we say that we will keep them for 3 or 6 months, something like that.
Okay.
But they still have to go through the same hiring process, checking references, doing all that, running the query and the drug and alcohol testing consortium or whatever. So,
Okay.
all right.
Thank you, Dave.
It'll be an operator before winter comes.
What's that?
We might need an operator before winter.
Yeah.
Enjoy today, anyway.
Yeah, weather's gonna change a little bit, but it's supposed
Yeah,
to
it's
be
gonna cool off a little bit. Thank God.
Yep.
Well, it doesn't look like we have any citizens visitors unless somebody's online or zooming in that would like to address the board. You want to take care of your stuff, Lisa?
I can. This morning, I need a motion to approve the minutes of the September 27th, 2022 board proceedings as written by Auditor Smith and authorized publication in the official newspapers.
So moved. Second.
With motion and a second to approve the publication of our previous board minutes. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carried.
Motion needed to accept, place on file, and authorize the chair's signature on the county recorder's report of fees collected for the month of September 2022 in the amount of $44,531.84.
We move to approve.
Second. The motion and second to approve the recorder's report of fees collected. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carried.
That's all that I have for the board today.
Short and sweet.
Wonderful.
Yep.
Luann, do you want to address the board now?
Yes.
We'll also try to be short and sweet this morning.
Thank you, Luann.
Aye.
You want? Okay. What I have this morning is the calendar. 5 o'clock this afternoon, Jack has an Economic Alliance goal setting meeting in the community room or by Zoom. Also add to your calendar at 6:30 tonight, the Chiefs meeting regarding the new Isaac's radio system and training on that. That will be at the New Andrew Fire Station, and I have Mike down for that meeting. I think anybody can go if they want to for this.
So basically what that is just an update of what's going on. There really won't be any training involved in this meeting in particular, but they're gonna set that up. So it's between the law enforcement agencies and EMS. Basically just to let us aware that's going on.
Okay, and surprisingly on our calendar, we have nothing on Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday this week. For any of you. Monday at 7:30 a.m. is an early childhood Iowa executive board meeting in DeWitt or by Zoom for Jack. And at 9:30 Monday morning is Jack's turn to be on Just Talk on KMAQ. It's a different day because they had something else they had to do on the regular day. Our next regular meeting will be on Tuesday, October 11th at 9 a.m. That afternoon at 4 o'clock is the Maquoketa River Watershed Management Authority executive meeting by Zoom for Larry. At least I have tentatively had it on the agenda. She hasn't confirmed that yet. And at 5:30 is a Mississippi Valley Workforce meeting with Iowa Workforce Development in Muscatine, probably or by Zoom for Jack.
Okay.
Thank you.
We have had discussion on the GIS position. We could probably take that up.
Yeah.
Okay, I can do that. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Yep.
Would you want to call Arlene and see if she would want to come down early?
Okay.
We'll recess. We're being joined with Arlene Shaw, our Jackson County Recorder, to talk about scanning quotes.
Yeah. So, of course, like you know, since 2006, we have been indexing and scanning back records in our office. And we've managed to go from 1996 back with images and 1987 back. And when I say back, I mean back 40 years with indexing and scanning. So over how many years, that's all we've managed to accomplish, okay? So I know we talked about the ARPA funds and scanning. So we have met with 4 different companies. What they offer varies quite a bit. And of course, for our office, there's certain qualifications that we do have to have. Of the 4 companies, some of them will only do off-site work, meaning we would have to ship our books somewhere, or they would come pick them up and drive them and do the work, and our books would be out of our office for a couple months at least. Some will do on-site, which means they bring their personnel here and do it. One company will do it on-site, and if we feel that we can find a qualified person in the area to do the scanning, they will give 8 hours of training for that person. It's not a qualified person, in other words, to do the scanning. Data entry, they differ in what brief indexing they might give us, because our goal, of course, is to pull all our documents into our Solutions Vision software and document locator, so that it's searchable on Iowa land records, it's searchable here for the convenience of the public. So, and of course, we have to have a TIFF file, and a couple of the companies evidently aren't real thrilled about that. So, and then some of them have a cost to maintain, and some of the, or a couple of the companies have their own system where all this information goes into, and then we have to pay not only to have it done, but then a yearly maintenance fee. And again, it would be on their own system. Yeah, it wouldn't be in our solutions.
So are you just telling us there's one company that will do the solutions? And
well, there's a couple will, but I would like to go with US Imaging. They're out of Michigan. So
is this on site?
they will come here.
Because I
Yep.
don't know that if they come and take our stuff, is that secure to take it somewhere else?
Heavens no, no. We would not want that. So this is what US Imaging, they have 3 different stages. And that's a copy of their proposal. And then eventually we will talk about what Solutions will charge us. And that's there. So the US Imaging Company they have 4 qualified employees that they will send here, and those employees will work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week until the project is done. They will work 12-hour shifts. So they would have to have access to get in the courthouse to go down and do their work. And as you can see, they have 3 different stages. So once they come here and do their work, then they will go back and continue with stage 2 and 3 at their own company. They will give us a brief indexing, which is the filing date, the book and page, and the document number. And then Solutions bill or quote, I should say, is there for just my office. This is just my office. That's their quote to pull it into pull the image into our indexing system, which Vision and Document Locator. And again, it's only those 3 brief indexing that's there. So my staff and myself would still go in and do a complete indexing of all the documents. And again, that's going to take time.
So this almost reads $10 per image.
Is that what she has?
Well, it's, and then at the end, I don't know, there's a decimal there. It's hard to, when you first look at it, it looks like it's the end of a sentence and then it's $10 per image.
Oh, she does have the, yeah, she does. But up on the top right, that's about what solutions bill would be. And I did double check with Allison September 30th, and it'll still be about the same. And then as far as US imaging quote, which is this, and it's on the back page, and it's kind of shocking.
So how many books or how many images are they talking about? I mean,
Well,
I know they got a record of them.
That's good. Yeah, it's gonna. I don't have the number of books. I do have my own indexing or inventory, which I can count them up. But the other
we do
thing,
have a hard number that the cost will.
yes.
Okay.
So this phase 4 is solutions itself? Is that the
There's 3 stages. Where you're looking at phase
phase 4? Phase 4. Is phase 4. On the back page, it says phase 4. Got a number attached to it.
Okay, well, they must just have different from that first page, because it's a 3-stage process.
I get it, but you said solutions quote was in there too. I don't see
Right here.
solutions mentioned.
Solutions has its separate quote. It's a separate piece of paper I just gave you.
That's this one for 13,900.
Yep, top right on there. Not that one, the other one. There you go. And that's the cost for solutions to pull it in. So just, I guess, just to kind of show you what these companies have to deal with and how they need to be trained to deal with it. I guess, you know, for example, this is an example of one page that we're working on right now. Up above my hand is one document. Below my hand is a second document that continues just to here. And it also has a plat attachment. So they, in their numerous phases there, they will go in and, you know, crop off in full the first document and crop off and create a second document. So you don't have 2 documents on the first page of an image, that this is a different document and this is a separate document.
Okay.
And their coloring, this is blue and white. We've got some that are black and white, so they have to, everyone probably knows more about this than I do, but they will convert this so it's a clear image.
So if somebody comes in and wants the top half of that page, you can give them the top half of the page. You can't give them the bottom. You can give them the bottom, the whole sheet.
Once it's indexed and imaged, yes, they're only going to get.
Right now, if somebody wants to come in and request that.
Well, then we have to go pull the book,
Make
run the
that.
copy, cut off the bottom, or cut off the top and do the second page. So,
Of course, we've been talking about this scanning and, you know, for a long time here. And we talked about all the offices getting together, but that never happened, correct?
we've gotten together.
Okay.
But that's up to the other offices. I just have my presentation, so I wanted to present it. I don't know what the other offices exactly have
So
done.
we need to do this with the other offices too.
Which I've given you mine this morning when I handed out my information. You'll see that I also handed you, Mike, yours is right there. It is stapled on the upper left corner. This is the same company. This is the US imaging company, quoted the auditor's office. We would be doing some transfer books, and there are some road record books. There's some old plat books that are downstairs, along with just a couple of old supervisors minute books that would need to be done. And the reason why is because they are bound. They are bound supervisors minute books that are written by hand. So they would have to take a look at those books individually. You cannot take the pages out, they are bound.
So how old are those?
1800.
Do we need them anymore?
Well, you know what? Honestly, that's the question. is any of this, you know, do we need to do some of this? That's really the ultimate
Or
question.
even by code, yeah, I mean, by legal.
I mean, they're
Yes.
downstairs, you know, as far as supervisors' minute books, they're downstairs, they're in a room that you've seen it, you know. So do we want to spend the money to do that?
How often are those, I mean, how many people come in and ask for information?
From Buku years ago, not a lot.
Okay.
But when it comes to abstracting, and Iowa is an abstracting company, the abstractors will look at those books periodically. And as far as a recorder's office is concerned, our records are permanent. We have to keep them. We don't have a choice. It's in the code. Now, the quote that Jack's holding up there, I did have 2 earlier quotes, and I decided to not do probably 40 some books because they're indexing books. And we do have those on microfilm. So worst case scenario is if there was a natural disaster of some sort, we could get a machine and pull those up on microfilm if we had to. But those are index books for the actual
Here's the
documents.
microfilm at.
It's in Kansas,
Okay.
underground somewhere.
Dorothy has it.
Storms.
There is a sticker shock involved with this.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
I
So the
guess,
other
do
quote,
we?
the other quote, not to interrupt you, but you need to know, so there was a quote for the recorder's office, a quote for the auditor's office. There's also another quote for Lori in the zoning office.
And
So
we have
she
not
also,
seen that, correct?
I
Or it's
have,
in here.
no, I have not seen that. I have not seen Arlene's quote either, so I don't know what the combination of this is.
I guess, do we feel that Iowa's always gonna be an abstract state, or are we going to title insurance like the rest of the 48 states?
Right now, as the code reads, our documents are permanent records. And say we had a tornado that took the courthouse, we would be up a creek. Because
Or we wouldn't
people,
have to worry about it.
we make the news, that's for sure. I mean, you look what happened in Lynn County, and there was another county that had a,
Marshall County.
Marshall, that had a tornado or something.
That's right.
Did we book
Yeah.
X amount of dollars in that? Not near enough.
Well, you
So-
told me, how much did you tell me? 260
Okay,
or something?
We've moved that around
Yeah.
several times,
okay,
you know.
okay, so we're
Um,
close. Or are we looking to budgeting next year is to,
Again, what's the wishes of the board? I mean,
whoa,
that's, you know as well as I do that we have obligated, the word isn't obligated. We know that
earmark,
we
yeah.
have, yeah, we've earmarked some
But
money,
again, that's gonna probably change.
and that's gonna, it's fluctuated a lot already. I mean, what we had earmarked for squad cars as an example. I mean, we needed more for
You know,
squad
and
cars.
we've talked
Yeah.
about that. I look back at that, even
Yeah.
conservation and some of that,
Yep.
that probably should be budgeted. You know, something like this to me is important that we didn't expect, I suppose, but we did kind of expect.
Well, the problem is with this large amount of money, our small county, how could we ever afford to do this? I don't know. Which now if we have the ARPA funds, this is an opportunity to get this done, so.
Yeah, I mean, I guess either way, it's either done in stages or it's done, you know, as we, I mean, afford it, I guess if you have to do it, we'd have the budget for it, but again, that goes back to every taxpayer, so it's something that it's almost inevitable at some point to look to me.
I think we need to, I guess it would be curious to put all 3 quotes together,
Yeah.
what we're talking about.
No doubt.
And again, you know, when I talk to Solutions, what they're going to do for us is different than what they're going to do for Arlene. Did you just throw out almost a $14,000 quote? From, see, mine's only like 2,500. So, I mean,
Because of the amount of,
because of what we need and how much we need, it's different. So I don't know. Lori is when I visited with Lori, she's in a little bit different predicament because she's going to need to have to decide how do we want to be able to find this information. I kind of gave her something to think about. If you think of me in a rural route area, I used to be rural route 4 box 42. And maybe that's how some of her documents now are filed. So now that we've gone to a 911, do we stick with the 911 number, or do we try and attach this information to a parcel letter that's on our software system for solutions? I mean, so there's a bigger discussion that needs to be had concerning Lori's files. We have to decide, once we get it imaged, how are we going to find it?
Well, I guess to me, the 911 makes sense. That's, to me, is always going to be here.
So we're going to have to convert. We're going to have to figure out. So we would have some sweat equity, so to speak.
Boy, IT is going to be busy.
So anyway, I just wanted to present this today. If you're not ready to.
I think we
move
need
ahead
to
with
review
it.
your information that you gave us.
Yeah, I have.
You know, there's a lot here
There
to
is.
absorb. So,
Also, that, like I said, I've had 2 other quotes and I've tried to go through them as close as I could. And I think it's from the first quote to now it's like $22,000 less, because sometimes there was a duplicate of a book, which I had her remove. And then other times, you know, she's quoting a full book and it might be 640 pages, but there might only be 72 used. So I've gone through the books to make sure that is comparable to that quote. But like she said, if they find other books that are like that, then of course the quote will. Because this is the maximum as far as each book.
Well, we certainly don't need to do what we don't have to.
okay, I think we'll take this under advisement. We'll review it and we'll have you come back in again.
Okay, sounds great. Thank you.
Thanks, Vernon.
Okay, Marty, why don't we do you? Because the sheriff, I think, is out in the hall, but he's not in here. So we'll just
Morning.
deal with you this morning.
Few things that working on and that we've done. I did get all the gutter finished down at the senior citizen and operation new view building. Hopefully it'll last a couple winters. I think the problem is when the ice gets on there, it just and starts sliding down. But I got it all repaired the best I could. Worked on the sink at hay cap. For some reason, the strainer started leaking, so I put a new strainer on it. The east door, they put new flooring in there, but about this much to the east door is not, it's concrete, and they would like that fixed. So I've been chipping, it's the top of the wall, and then the floor is poured to the top of the wall, so it's rough. So I'm chipping that away, cleaning it up, and then I'm gonna put some I don't know what's that?
Rock.
Yeah, thank you. On that, and then put some tile on top of that is my plan. The driveway at the Penrose Annex where it's settled is fixed. I'm sure it will make a big difference. The guy that did the work said there was a big foam pad in there that was letting the water down in there. He just put a real thin rubberized one there. And then I'm gonna caulk it too, just to make sure. So we keep the water out of the basement. The gutters, like I told you previously, gutters helped out a lot to get the water away from the building. I had to put a new ball joint, lower ball joint, tires, and had the front end lined up on my little Nissan van. It just wore the one tire. I rotated it, but it just kept wearing the one tire. And it was, the cords were starting to show, so I had to get a new set of tires. And while I had them off, I painted the rims so it looks nice. The F-350 from Seton, because we don't drive a lot, the brake pad rusted to the rotor. And then when I went to move it, it tore the pad off, the brake pad off of what holds it on. Then it ruined the rotor and the caliper, so I had to have that done. I told Mike, between me and him, we need to drive that more often so that doesn't happen again.
That don't sound like a common deal to me, because that, even if you don't drive, they shouldn't rust to that rotor.
Well, who did I talk to? Tom out at Burnett Teal said that on them trucks like that, it happens all the time. On them bigger trucks. That's what he told me. And I don't know. I know I have personally got a 250 Ford, and I replace a brake caliper on that probably once every couple of years, because it's either the right rear or the left front one, and I don't know why that is. I talked to the mechanic down at Secondary Roads, and he says the same thing. There's a flaw in there that it comes out and then it doesn't go back in, and then it eats the pad off and goes right through it. I'm having problems with the women's restroom here. Every time you flush the toilet, when it gets about done, it makes some weird noise, and it's them 3 toilets and only them 3 toilets. So I've called, and they're supposed to be seeing if there's something we can do a fix to it, but I have not heard back from them yet. I don't want to have to go buy new flushometers because they're like $300 or $400 a piece. And if there's some fix to it, I tried putting new parts in the inside, thinking that would cure, but it doesn't. It still doesn't.
What kind of noise are we talking about? Is it air noise?
It's just like it squeals when you're shutting the water off. Would that describe it or not?
Yeah, it squeals. It's like a
Would you know,
dry.
Bjorn?
I hear it.
Yeah.
We hear it. I mean, all the offices hear it.
It's loud.
It's very loud.
Maybe you should call Ghostbusters.
Yeah. But we have them other places in the building and over across, and it doesn't do it. Just them 3 in that, I don't know if it's something with the water pressure or what.
Yeah, I'm ready to go back to just regular flush toilets. I mean,
The handles.
Yeah, the handles. I mean, it's very loud. It's very obvious.
Google
I don't know how you Google.
Noisy toilets?
Yeah.
Try it.
I think the guy at AY McDonald will get back to me here and we'll figure something out. Because they've done it since we put them in.
Yeah.
You know, it ain't like they're 2 years down the road, then they started doing it. It done it from the day I put them in. So I'm thinking it's something with the water pressure.
them then?
Huh?
And we contacted AY then?
Yeah, yeah.
They said?
We take apart, and I can't remember what we did, but move something around, but it works for a week and then it goes right back into it. So I'm looking for a permanent solution.
Just put an outhouse out there and it doesn't make any noise.
You know?
I'll do that, but when they complain, I'm sending to you.
I'll be gone, so.
I'm doing it tomorrow. The jail administrator wants to take out the old, they were phones that you had during visitation.
Okay.
But they're still live, and I want to figure out how to disconnect them. So he's supposed to be checking on that. And then we're going to take the phones out. There's one on each side. And then there's a piece of glass that we're used to look at. But
So what are we using for visitation?
that I don't know.
There has not been face-to-face visitation. It's all done electronically.
So is there a reason to take them out?
I think for safety is what he told me. They don't want somebody wrapping their head around the cord.
So it sounds like one side anyway.
Yeah, well, when he asked, he wanted both sides out. Okay. So that's where we're at. If you don't want that, let me know.
Well, let's just see what it entails.
Well, I think it's what I want to make sure it ain't hooked to something else in the PD. I don't want to cut a wire and then, because I have went in there and told to do stuff and cut the wire and it was still alive and the spark flew, and I don't like that. Okay.
You have a tester, right?
Yeah, but when they say, well, it's no longer in use, it hasn't been used, I just figured it was,
You
but it
have a
wasn't.
tester, right?
Yeah. And I had to put the key fob back on the wall in the little holding cell. Somebody got radical and ripped it off. There's no big deal, but it just takes a little time. Installed the last access hole panel in her office. I actually cut the hole and then may have forgot to put it on.
I'm sorry, who's her?
Lisa
Okay.
Smith in the auditor's office. I cut the hole, and like I said, I may have forgot to put that back on, so I did get that done. The southeast door right over here on the diagonal sidewalk. Somebody, I think, keep pulling it shut or pushing it open, and then it throws it out of kilter, and then we have to adjust it. We are going to put a second bolt in it so that when they do it next time, it breaks the arm off instead of sliding it, because it happens like once a week, and I'm not for sure who's doing it.
Is there not a stopper or something that it can only go so far?
No, it'll go so far, but if that door is opening and you push it, it throws it out of whack, and then you have to reset it. You can't touch it once it's open, or you can't, if it goes slow, if it goes, going slow shut and they push it shut, then then you got to reset it.
When was the last time that happened?
Week of 2 or 3 days ago.
Okay.
Yeah. On the east side of, or excuse me, on the west side of the Haycap building, there's I'm going to call it a mulberry tree that's just like that. And then underneath it, there's some old railroad ties and stuff. I went down to cut it off. That's the day that the brakes went out of the truck, so I couldn't finish it. But I am going to do that and clean it up. One of the gentlemen there like to park there, and then he uses the back door. That way you won't have the tree right in his way.
No more shade. Huh?
Well, it ain't even a shade tree.
It's
just okay. And the pianos did make their way to the landfill. All 3 of them. I guess I do that, and I have Mike. We drive down through the jail stuff to make sure it's all still there. And with that being said, I called John Hanson. He thought within the next 2 weeks they were going to be here to start on the jail, and he was going to take a look at that. And if there's something that he thought should be inside, he's going to have us move it, or somebody will move it inside.
And you have forks, right?
Yes.
And the skid loader, are they here?
Yes.
Yeah.
I would move some of them in there. There's some valuable stuff sitting there.
I know
I talked to John too, and he said it's not our problem.
Yeah.
Really?
And I said, well.
That's what he told me. He said, he
the building
basically
is for?
told me not to do it.
Isn't that what the building's for?
Well, here's the other side of that.
There is some
If
stuff.
we do move it and something gets damaged, then what?
That's and that's why Mike mentioned that a week ago that I should move it, and I didn't because of that.
Okay.
Pallet forks are really nice if you got something that's on there, but if it just happens to set on there, it always seems when you're just about where you want it goes like this, and it goes like that.
Well, it's almost got to be on a pallet.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd have to be.
So, like I said, we go down there every morning and check it out and make sure that nothing, that way at least if something is gone, we can turn it in right away.
I had called him also. I said, just so you know, and that's not our baby.
See, I was told, or he called me one day, wanted me to unlock the building because they had a load coming in. And I goes, okay. So I went down the next day, unlocked it, and I sat there till they got there and told the gentleman that the building's unlocked. And he goes, okay, that's good. And I left, and I come back an hour later and it's all sitting outside and there's nothing in the building. So that's what it is. And the last thing is, like I said, we bought a set of pallet forks. I did use them to load the pianos in the dump truck, and they work good. Anything that's all I got.
So there is some room up there also that we keep in the back of our mind that.
So what about the welcome center? Stuff there. I mean, if they're not gonna put stuff in that building, we could move that from here.
Well, that's up to you guys. All right, so Tom Devine brought up some kind of a little cabinet here, and I was talking to him, and he told me that he took his horse trailer down there and loaded all that stuff up and took it to the landfill. Whether he did or not, I don't know. I haven't been down there, but that's what he told me.
Well, he may have picked up the pamphlets and some of that stuff,
Okay,
but there's still some old desks there. There's still some, the conference table and 42 chairs are still upstairs. So he didn't take everything,
okay.
but he took a hell of a lot of brochures out of that building.
So with that being said, I think we need to get that desk and that conference table and them chairs out of there.
Yep.
And then I would like, if we could, have Marty secure that building from whoever's intruding in the basement there.
Is it an animal? coming in?
Yeah, I think it's probably a mouse or a.
I'm pretty sure it's an animal.
Okay.
Yeah,
But
right by the-
but like a mouse or something.
You were down there before and seen it, right by the electric panel there. He makes a pile and, okay.
No, never seen it. All what I ever seen was the 10,000 bugs on the basement floor. And I thought I got rid of them when I sprayed the stuff around the
But then
outside.
there was a pile there at that time that just.
It was above it
Yeah,
and then
yeah, and
below.
then it falls down to the floor.
Or a little ground squirrel or something.
Yeah.
Squirreling stuff away for the winter.
Okay, so if we go get that stuff, you want me to put it where? If we're not gonna keep it very long, or if we're not gonna store it very long, I think Jared moved the van out of where the pianos were, and that stall would be open too.
Yeah,
But
so,
that's up to you guys. It's just an idea.
so the table needs to come here, right? Are we
Yes,
using that in the
yes, we're
community?
gonna put that in the small conference room. The table, and there are 8 chairs.
In the second floor table,
Yeah.
that table.
Yes, yeah.
Conference table.
And there are 42 chairs with cushions. Those need to go somewhere.
Secured without
Yes.
varmints. They're nice chairs.
I
I
don't-
think that, I honestly believe that they can go down to the Peace Pipe players.
I was gonna say, I don't know. if
When
there's
you walk
enough
in,
room.
well, here's what I'm gonna tell you, that when you walk.
We'll
into-
find room.
Well, when you walk into the Peace Pipe players, that first little room that you walk into is their meeting room.
Okay,
I think if we move their table and chairs a little bit to the east, because those are stackable chairs,
Okay.
I think we can probably stack those chairs.
would
on
you
that
make sure
far
that's
end.
okay with him, or should I just do it?
I mean, Shelley and I were down there a week ago. No, maybe it's been 2, but, so that's what I thought, and she didn't say no, I mean.
Okay, all right.
And
Do
it's,
we have that space?
Yes,
you
we
know,
do, because
Okay.
when I took that desk down there, that's where she put it.
okay,
Did you say there was 8 chairs upstairs?
They're on the
There's-
conference table.
They're around the conference
Okay.
table, and then the
Rollers
42
on.
chairs
Yeah.
are also upstairs.
And what about the desk?
Tom's desk,
Upstairs, yes.
that's
Yeah.
the non-roll top desk
Right,
in the
looks-
far north,
Right.
or I guess you'd probably call it the
West.
southwest corner of
Yeah.
the.
It's upstairs anyway. It's a desk, office desk, wood office desk.
Where do you want to go with that?
well, is that something we're gonna want to use for one of our offices here?
Maybe,
Okay, I mean, maybe,
or at the jail site, or.
yeah, I mean, we have several places, that's. I did talk to Neil Engel, and he was concerned about some stuff, and I said, honestly, between all of our different areas, I believe that we're going to use everything, it's just a matter, we have to get stuff built.
So
And
what
then
was
we
Neil
just-
Engel
He
concerned about?
questioned, no, he just questioned some of the things at Peace Pipe Players, and, we talked about these 42 chairs, and, obviously they're gonna have a conference room also, and I said, when all is said and done, I think all of this will probably be dispersed, but we don't know until we get buildings built, and
So
Rooms
can we
established?
remove some of the stuff in the hallways downstairs?
sure. I don't have time.
We are waiting for, as far as I'm concerned, we were waiting for permission from you folks to get rid of it, because apparently nobody wants it.
Well, get rid of it.
The metal stuff I'm gonna take over here, if that's okay, to the Clinton Engine metal thing, donate it to them for,
Well,
is that okay?
I think you can take it out to junkies
Oh, okay,
and just tell them that it's the Historical Society gets credit for them.
I will do
I
that.
don't think you have to take it there, so they have to move it.
Again,
All right, I will do that. All right.
But I, you
Just
know,
take it
I-
all, or do you want to go down and mark stuff that somebody may want, or that way if I don't throw something away and somebody goes, well, I could use that.
Yeah, we'll go down.
Yeah.
We'll work together.
All right.
So at one time, there was some mention that there's a few, whether it be cabinets or whatever, bolt bends or whatever you want to use them for, that somebody might be able to use. How does that work if somebody can use it? If they're gonna use it for their personal, is there a policy or procedure to say you gotta buy it, or we can say you can buy it, or we can say they can buy it? Who's got the authority to get rid of that stuff? I mean, we got the authority to take it to the junkyard.
Right.
Do we have the authority that somebody makes an offer on it and we can sell it to them?
I think that's a question for Sarah. Yeah, because I'm not gonna go there.
I mean, I understand. but
Because I know,
We just want to do
if
it
you
right.
remember back in the day, you told me, Secondary Roads was having a meeting down there and to tell them if they needed something out of there to take to them.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted nothing, but the couple of guys that do a little bit of mechanic work said they would want that for their own personal. I go, well, I can't do that.
Exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Let's figure out a way to get it done.
All right.
I mean, I think there's something in the code, to be honest with you, how to dispose of county property.
Would you want to look that up or not? I mean, you got
Ask-
myself to do
ask-
it.
just talk to Sarah.
Okay, I will do that.
Are you gonna talk to her?
I will, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Anything else?
But you know, like the old school desk, they have a plate on them who donated them. I have no idea who these people are. I took 3 of the desks to the Historical Society because they wanted those, because Frank Miller's wife said she didn't want them disposed of because they had donated them, and they came from the old red schoolhouse. The desk, when Lisa and I were down there, that's the teacher's desk on the main floor, it had a plate on it, and Lisa says, well, that was county property. It must have been in one of the old schools or someplace, because it said what the plate was, where it was at, and so.
So that's really the question that I have is, let's talk about the black chalkboard.
The
There's-
one behind the school desk.
Right, so there's that wooden desk. Honestly, nobody's gonna use that desk.
No.
It is quite used, you know, and today, I don't believe that there's anybody here in the courthouse that would use that desk in particular. So that would be the question, what do you want to do with that desk? How about the black? Is there a bell? Was there a school bell there?
That bell that's up in the tower should probably
Okay.
come out.
How do,
You want me to?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. I tell you what, I'll do that, but you stand down below and catch it.
You know how heavy those bells are.
Well, that's a refill
Yeah.
probably, but
Yeah, what, no, it's original, it's heavy. I was up there, we shingled that, yeah,
well,
it's
if we need to
heavy.
get a lift, we'll get a lift.
We're gonna have to.
Bell should
Yeah,
go with the.
well, that's what I'm saying. So there are things there, and I did visit with Elizabeth yesterday. The other question that we have is the very beautiful wasp nest that is at the entrance on the north side.
I don't think it's that beautiful, to be honest with you.
I never seen it, so I can't make a
That's
call.
because it stung you.
He's seen me.
So that's the question. Do we knock it down and
Apparently
say,
not
do
enough.
we wait till it gets cold and then we knock it down and we try and preserve it for conservation? I mean,
Maybe talk to Nate about it.
I Googled it, you take a garbage sack, put up over
Yes,
top of
you
it, like that, what?
That's what you do.
Yeah, I
So is
Googled
it
that
on
when
the
you
side?
talked to me about
Is
it.
it
you
on
do
the
that
side
too?
of the building?
Yeah, I'll
or
do
is
that,
it-
I don't care. They don't bother, it stings for a little bit, but that's it. I got a brother-in-law, you know, he swells up like a pumpkin when he
Yeah,
gets
great.
done. Yeah, yeah, I'll do that if you want me to. I'll bring it back and give it to conservation.
I believe that they would probably use it as a
I think they
demonstration.
have some out there, but you can ask Nathan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want me to line somebody up with a boom then to take the bell down and we'll go down and take the bell down?
How big is it?
I'm gonna say it's about that big around that tall.
I don't know, let's see. Mine's 22-inch bell, and it weighed 200 pounds.
Oh, I'll bet this one's right there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
because we didn't lift it or not, Larry, but we grabbed it and I think a couple of guys hit it with a hammer just to hear it
So
ring,
it's
you know.
not hooked up to work.
Oh, no, it's got you pull the rope, it pulls electronic thing, and then it has a plunger to it, that thing.
Really?
Oh,
I
yeah.
know, it sounds like that.
Huh? That was a Bob Sisler thing. He did that.
I would say probably, you know, when we moved everything out of the hospital and you got one of those trailer things. I think you're gonna probably wanna get one of those
Thank you.
to take down so that
So
you
you can
can,
rent one up here that pulls behind.
yeah.
We rented one from,
I don't know who we used.
I can't think of his name. He had like a 25-footer or 30
Yeah.
footer. I mean, we filled it full and it worked good. If you don't mind, I would touch base with him again. And I think it was fairly cheap.
It was.
Yeah.
Well, I think we need to move forward and get that
Yeah.
down. and so
I
that
think
ain't a
there's
concern.
still a copier upstairs. I don't know if it works. I know there's a TV in the one room that I don't know if it works.
So this is what I'm asking. When we go down there, we'll just, everything out of there. Anything that is in there, we'll bring with us. And so the building's empty.
Yeah.
I will get a hold of, I'm probably gonna go with the tree trimmer with the boom to get the hoist down. I'll talk to him, see what he charges, and we'll go down and help take it down. Where do you put something like that at?
The bell,
I really don't want to carry it down in the
You
basement, you know what I
think
mean?
you go up to the care facility.
In where the pianos were, maybe?
So maybe everything, maybe to make it easy, whatever gets loaded in the trailer, maybe that should just all go to,
Yeah, maybe.
maybe.
Yeah.
If
Go
that-
to where?
To the
Care
Andrew Jackson
facility.
Care
Okay.
Facility.
I'll make
That
sure
way
that's
it's-
okay with Jared.
Yeah.
Just to, so like we don't crowd him, but I think he took the band that was in there somewhere and I don't think it ever come back. So there's a nice single car garage there that we could fill up if we don't maybe keep it in there too long. And it's fairly well protected too.
Yeah.
Okay,
The roof stopped leaking,
No. Where,
what roof?
the one that was leaking on the piano.
Oh, I know nothing about that.
Well, the piano was all,
Don't you think that was just from
I
sitting
think
in
that
there
was
for,
from a
them
long time
piano's
ago.
been in there for 15
I don't think
years.
that roof leaks.
I didn't know it did. Nobody's ever mentioned to me that the roof leaks.
Okay.
Yeah. Them piano, how long has it been since the care facility closed? That's gotta be 10, 15 years ago, didn't it?
Yeah.
At least.
Mhm.
So the pianos was set, and then pianos were rough when they were in the care facility,
Yeah.
rough looking.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay, don't
So
forget
when the
about
table
the,
and chairs come though, I guess the table, you want the table and chairs, the conference table and the 8 chairs to come to the courthouse now.
and put it down in the little conference room.
right,
Okay,
And if you wouldn't mind taking the time to carpet clean the chairs,
okay, we'll do that.
thank you.
They're cloth chairs.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do that.
So
don't forget about
basically,
the
you're
critter.
telling him to
The what?
empty everything, right?
plug the hole. The
For the rodent,
Yeah. road.
yeah, I'll get on that.
And what about cleaning? It
yeah,
needs to be cleaned.
obviously, if we're going to put it up for sale, it has to be,
So how do you feel about that, your crew? You and Mike and,
We always like to go on tour. And I think we ought to fix all the lights and stuff in the building too, because half the lights in the building don't
yeah,
work either.
take a look when you clean stuff out of there. If you got a way to clean that up, or you guys can clean that up, and then we can have it either
you got
protected or whatever. we wanna
something
do.
to clean them toilets still?
Yes, we got good toilet cleaning stuff.
Okay.
Good.
you're gonna need
Can,
it.
if we go down and clean it, can we take the part-time guy with us and
Yeah.
down there
Yes.
and do a
Yes.
full day, so we get
Yeah.
it all done in one day?
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
all right.
Yeah, and leave the water on so the
But-
cells are working too.
I think the water's
The
on.
water's on.
Yeah, I never, because I never
Tom said
stepped
it was
on.
on. I
All right.
didn't know it was on, but
Yeah.
also just confirm that when you take him, that somebody knows it here, so you, okay.
Yeah, I always confer with Lisa. I don't, I try. anyway.
Elizabeth would like to come in and take the water sample after you take care of the hornet's nest.
Okay,
So,
Yeah, she was there yesterday, but she got chickened out.
I told her that she should get a garbage bag, but she didn't see it.
I will do that. I will do
She
that.
probably could have gone in the front door.
Hey, I've got one of those hats with a screen, a beekeeper's hat. I look good in that.
I love to hit wasp nests to get them to upset with me. I will do it. I will take care of it. All right.
Okay.
Anything else?
Nope.
All right. Have a good week.
Thank you.
I tweet my name.
I'll put that in the minutes there. Morning. Morning. How's everyone? Good.
Okay,
It's good.
Hey, so a couple weeks ago, unofficially, I advised that Corey Kevin was retiring from the Jackson County Sheriff's Office and from law enforcement. And since then, he's asked to be retained as a part-time deputy. And so we're going to allow him to do that. And then also, we have a conditional offer out to Nick Conrady, also as a part-time deputy, pending his pre-employment stuff being approved and completed. But the purpose of coming today is to, so obviously that full-time vacancy creates vacancies within the department. So Wes Unke chose to come out and work patrol. So that means we will backfill the courthouse security position. And Joel Driscoll is working for us part-time on the road. So we offered that job to him and he chose to fill that. So that's what I'm here for today is to, and we're a little out of sorts because normally we do the certificate today, but that's already been taken care of. So I guess unless you want me to officially go through that, but I'm here to introduce Joel. Joel's 45 and he's a Jackson County native from the Preston area. He's been married to his wife Jen for 27 years and they have 2 children, Peyton 24 and Cameron 22. Joel started in law enforcement as a reserve for the Preston Police Department in the fall of 2001 and obtained his certification from the Iowa Law Enforcement Academy in 2003. Throughout the years, he's worked in law enforcement mainly on a part-time status for other area departments on the side from his full-time employment. And one of his full-time jobs has been a Scott County bailiff that included duties such as courthouse security and prisoner transportation down there. In his spare time, Joel enjoys camping and just hanging out at home with his family and friends. So that is Joel. I would ask that I can read this part about the sheriff's office that I do every time I hire a full-time deputy. So this is probably more to you, Joel, than anyone. The first of 2 important characteristics that distinguish the office of sheriff from other law enforcement units is its historical roots. In England, the sheriff came into existence around the 9th century. This makes the sheriff the oldest continuing non-military law enforcement entity in history. The elected sheriff is part of America's democratic fabric. It's more than a tradition, it's a constitutional requirement. The second characteristic that sets the sheriff's office apart from other law enforcement agencies is its direct accountability to citizens through the election of the sheriff. The office of sheriff is not a department of county government. It is the independent office through which the sheriff exercises the powers of the public trust. No individual or small group hires or fires the sheriff or has the authority to interfere with the operations of the office. Elected sheriffs are accountable directly to the Constitution of their state, the United States Constitution, statutes, and the citizens of their county. The sheriff should naturally do his best to work with all entities because it is important in a democratic society. The sheriff must work with all segments of government to serve and protect the citizens of the county. The preservation of the office of sheriff is vital in our republic. Outside a few elected town marshals, the sheriff is the only head of law enforcement agency in this nation that is accountable directly to the people of his or her jurisdiction. Each of us as sheriff can do our part to ensure our contribution to the preservation of this great office by following these principles. Remember those sheriffs who have served in our counties and across the nation before us. Build on their successes by learning from their mistakes. Always serve with integrity. Do not shirk the sheriff's responsibilities, duties, or management rights to other governmental entities, unions, or political influence. The sheriff alone stands directly accountable to the citizens for the quality of service from the sheriff's office. No one fulfilled the sheriff's moral and statutory responsibilities. Not a mere formality, an oath of office is a public pledge that the official understands the requirements of the position and will work to meet or exceed those requirements. Those taking the oath must fully consider the meaning of the oath and all its important implications. This is why the oath to the sheriff's office is so important to me. By deputizing someone, I'm entrusting they will not abuse their power and follow my intentions. We're entrusted by the public to do what is right, moral, ethical, and legal. We must set and lead by example in our community, both on and off duty, to ensure we never lose the public's faith and trust in us. To be disloyal to this oath is perjury and means you not only have been disloyal to the sheriff's office, but more importantly to your people. Never dishonor yourself or the principles of this office. So with that, like I say, we've already done the swearing in on the certificate. So that's been taken care of. So at this time, I would ask that Joel be able to go up and we'd have his wife, Jen, pin his badge on his chest by the flags. And then we get a couple photos. And congratulations. Thank you much. Yep. All right, get a picture with you too. Okay. And if I could get one with you also, Bill. Thanks, Jen. Actually, you take
Yeah.
one and then you write it as well, so. Thank you, John. Congratulations. Thank you very much. Thank you. All right, thanks, everyone.
Yep, have a good day.
Good luck. Things roll. Thank you. Thanks.
Okay. Is there any other business to come before our meeting today?
So we were talking about the Welcome Center. Have we decided how are you gonna market that or dispose of it or? We had talked about offering it, putting it on the market. I talked to ECIA a little bit and when they were down and how we did the Bear Creek cottages. So basically what they did was wrote letters to
The realtors.
the offices in Jackson County and asked them to provide a letter of, their proposal for marketing.
Okay.
So I think we should probably do the same thing if we're gonna do it that way and we can give everybody an
I
opportunity.
think that's the fairest way to do it.
Give everybody an opportunity to present their proposal and go from there. So if, I think I've got a list of most of the offices I'll check here with. I guess we'll talk about who the offices are in town and try to get a letter to them. Maybe they can have their proposal in by next meeting. If that's the way we want to proceed.
Will they want to go down and see it?
I'm sure they might want to, yeah. I mean, if they do, we can make arrangements for that.
Sure, sure.
Or lockbox on it or something, yeah.
They probably want to take pictures too, if they want to.
Well, first they're gonna give us a proposal and whoever we hire or whoever we go with, if that's the way we're gonna proceed, then they can do their thing, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, how do you want to proceed that way or?
I think that's the best option.
Well, that's the best way to market it probably, and that's
Yeah.
fair to everybody, but.
I would agree.
Okay, well then I'll get with maybe Luann and we'll come up with a letter to them and find out which all companies there's left here in town, so, or in the county.
Well, we could probably get a copy of what they did at ECIA.
Yeah, I'm wondering if they could have a floor mat or yeah.
See what they did and kind of scrunch it to maybe meet our needs.
Piggyback on it, yeah. Okay.
So I have on the opioid settlement. I was just wondering if the schools have any backlashes. I know my niece adopted a child that was hooked on coke or heroin when he was born. And I mean, there's still residual stuff from that yet. And I wonder if the schools can use any of that money for students.
You have to go back and look at what I handed out to you, the way that the uses of the money, that was what, about 20 some pages.
Okay.
You need to, and then you need to work within those categories.
Okay.
Do not deviate off of that. So I would go back and take a look at that and see if there's an approved usage in the school district.
I know they talked about it out in Des Moines when we were out there about some of the special needs kids and how much more it costs to, all the special needs they have. And they weren't really being reimbursed for that. I was just wondering if this would be a good path.
I'd have to go back and look at that. Like I said, I've been on a couple of Zoom meetings here lately concerning the opioid settlement. There's resources out there, but I would be very cautious to move forward to make sure that we follow.
And it could be a Sarah question also.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I know we were looking for places.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it should be used in the right area.
Yeah, no, and we are subject to audit for this, and the state auditor's office was on the Zoom call last week. They were very specific about where the money is at, and they were very specific with everything as far as the usage. And that's why I caution you, yes, we need to spend it, but we need to also spend it in those categories that,
That I would make a motion to adjourn.
I would second.
A motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor? Aye. Motion carried.